अमित बाब, thank you. I'm मेरे पास एक गौजाल चल रहा था because sunburn has been kind of targeted, wherein they are very crucial, critical about sunburn and how the event is processing. But in the meanwhile, there are a lot of parties in Goa which are flourishing at late night, and there's no law and order control with reference to these parties. What do you have to say about how the authority is right now working towards these events?
So there are two parts to your question. First part is whether sunburn is being targeted. One thing I must make it very clear is that sunburn has been there in Goa for quite some time. Sunburn has flouted rules time and again. Sunburn's matter has been before the High Court. The government has been supporting sunburn in all forms that is possible. Even for the last permission that have been granted. Last year we had seen that the permission was granted, which was illegal. The High Court has very categorically held that the sunburn permission, which was granted for the year 2022, was illegally granted. But nobody has been fixed responsibility, or no responsibility has been fixed on a particular person by the government who granted these permissions illegally. So I don't think sunburn is being targeted. Sunburn, nobody is against sunburn, including us. When we had said that 31st sunburn should not be there, so that there is enough opportunity for the locals to earn some business. There cannot be a target which is there. High Court has said monitor because they've been flouting rules time and again, and that's why, in fact, only because of that that the authorities are activated. Otherwise, authorities are not bothered because there is enough that is being supported by the government as far as sunburn is concerned. Even if you had to see the other day when the matter of the DYSP stopping one stage was concerned,
Right.
I am told, and it is on record in some of the videos where it is seen that he received calls immediately. So what is he doing? And how the Sunburn's organizer, when he went to the main stage, behaved with him as if he is his boss and not the government.
Mm.
So Sunburn is certainly not getting targeted. What we are saying that Sunburn should be there for 4 times in a year, but not at the fag end of the year when there is immense flow of tourists in Goa, when there is enough opportunities for Goans to make some business, and that business get diverted to Sunburn instead of the locals. Now, as far as second part of your question is concerned, as to flouting of rules by clubs, in the last 4 years, there have been clubs which have opened by non-Goans in Goa. Lots of them, lots of businesses have been opened in the coastal belt, not particularly in Anjuna, Vagathar, Asagaon, or Siolim that has gone to Morji. Now, if you see, most of them are not Goans. Now, entirely this coastal belt is managed by certain amount of money that gets paid every month to certain people who are collection agents for the government. So government is part of the nexus which operates, which collects the money for allowing these parties to go until wee hours of money. Now I can imagine and I can understand the plight of the locals. High Court has been very clear in the matter which has come up before the High Court that if you want to have a late night party, you have it, but close it. Close the venues. Now, Goa does thrive on music industry.
Right.
Goa does thrive on good food that gets served in Goa. And of course, government should promote good music, good industries, and something like this should be promoted. Music should be promoted to attract more tourists to Goa, but not at the cost of the locals. There has to be some balance. There has to be certain amendments to laws which allows enclosing the structures within CRZ areas, that so that music industry can thrive. The industry which is surviving, which is bringing in good tourists to Goa, should thrive. So it is time governments take some proactive measures. See, now a lot of these businessmen have invested a lot of money in Goa, which attracts good tourists to Goa, the spending tourists to Goa, but that there is no control on these illegalities, which
Mm.
is what is something that is disturbing the locals. Now, if you see what has happened in Anjuna yesterday, a local was beaten up by one of the club owners because he just went to say produce the music. Now, this is common and this is going to happen. See, whenever there is something like this which happens, the locals are going to go up in arms. But it should not give an opportunity to government to make money in terms of bribes, or the authorities to make money in terms of bribes. According to me, the laws should suitably amended, and which is possible if the law of sound pollution is amended, if the law of CRZ is amended in such a way that there is an equilibrium between balance of how the nature is going to be served and conserved, and how the industry is also going to survive. That balance has to be brought by the departments together. The environment ministry, the CRZ, which is the environment ministry deals with CRZ, the tourism ministry, the home ministry, the chief minister of Goa, all should sit together and find a solution that the industries are able to bring up something that is covered. They're all over. We've seen, we travel to the other parts of the world. You go to Ibiza, 10 by 10 p.m. the outside music stops. The areas get covered and the music is played inside. You see that in Hong Kong. You see in all the music places where people go to party. The music is played in such a way that during the daytime up to 10 p.m. the music is played in the open, but after 10 p.m. it shifts indoors. Now this can be created. Good venues could be created, and we have seen some of the restaurant owners, some of the club owners have created areas which are now covered, which does not disturb the neighborhood. See, the neighborhood also strives and survives on the business. You see the industry in Anjuna. If you see Anjuna, Vagator, there are a lot of locals who sell omelette bread or Maggie, or for that matter, whatever the products that have been sold there. Their
Right.
livelihood
Right.
depends on this industry. So nobody, including us politicians, want to destroy this industry. We are only saying control it in such a way that it does not make the extortionists rich, but the people of the local areas richer. And which is, I think, what the intention is when we say sunburn. Now, I mean, vis-a-vis sunburn, the others. I'm saying let everybody be, the laws be equal. The police should take action if there are rules being flouted, laws being flouted, and if not, it cannot be that one particular, one particular event is being targeted. I don't think that is a thought process of any politician, or for that matter locals also. For me, it is very easy to stay in Panjim in my house in a quieter environment and talk about going for party when I did go for one day party, and they say, oh, why locals want to trouble something like this. No, the local is living there in 24 by 7 for 7 days. He's facing that till 5 6 in the morning. His kids are studying, they cannot sleep, there are so many things. So I think there is a change that has to be brought in, and it is inevitable that laws are amended suitably, that opportunities are given them to cover, and the rules should be amended in such a way that these areas can be created so that nobody gets disturbed, industry survives, and the locals are also happy, and the authorities don't have an opportunity for extorting money.
Right, and also while we are talking on the events, yesterday and day before yesterday, you could see the kind of crowd and traffic that was there in that area. And you rightly said that it should not be at this time, but unfortunately, it has happened, and Sunburn was very clear that it will happen. And though it was vis-a-vis, there was discussions that it might not happen in the government. But looking at this, people are frustrated with respect to the traffic, with respect to the noise. So, what is your suggestion with reference to how, in the fag end of this year or any year, how the party should be streamlined?
So it's very simple. Traffic management is most important. Per se, we also need to get discipline. We want to find the shortest possible way to get to the place, and we try to do double lane, 3 lanes, 4 lanes, and that ultimately leads to a bottleneck.
Right.
But that all happens because of the fact that there is somebody who is not managing this traffic well.
Right.
Now, what happens is that entire department, there should be one-way traffic which can be done. But imagine you living in Vagator, in heart of Vagator. When you are living in heart of Bagator, you cannot enter there for less than 2.5 hours time. So imagine some emergency comes up, somebody is sick. How will you get him out? Question is, when there is a jam, can the ambulance come out? May God forbid somebody gets heart attack or some serious illness comes up and has to be rushed to a hospital from the center of Agathar, Ozrant, or some other place where these kind of events are happening. How do they reach the hospital? Imagine the plight of the locals. That's why the locals are against all this. See, for us, it's, as I said, for us, it's very easy to sit back here in my air-conditioned room and say, oh, why I'll go for a party for a day. I'm okay to drive. But imagine the person who's going to his house every day and coming out of his house every
Right.
day. So I think that's what it is. The things should change. Best thing for the government is to do is not to have such kind of events at a time when there is already crowd coming in for Goa. So I mean, this year we have seen South Goa has seen 50% less tourists than it could see last year. That means something is going wrong somewhere. Something is going wrong with the government's policy. Government has to take a proper policy decision as far as tourism policy is concerned. We need to have a plan for next 5 years. Our policies come just before the season starts, and by the time the season starts, the policy is not come. So 3 months later, by the time policy has come, the season is over. This is what Goa's tourism has been. This is what Goa's politicians have been looking for as far as Goa is concerned. Yes, Goa has the potential to grow to a level where no country can reach. We travel the different parts of the world. They're cold at this time of the year. Where in the world you get the best of weathers in December, November, or January? Why are we losing our tourists to Southeast Asia? This is something that we need to learn. We don't need to do any events in Portugal or Germany or UK, wherein now not more than 5,000, 10,000 tourists are coming from Germany, I think, to Goa. They must check their records. So why do we have our tourism events in Germany where we are not able to attract tourists? Why can't we have it in places like Japan or other places where there are more tourists? So it is all because somebody wants to go on a holiday to those countries, and that is why we have our tourism events there. Nobody comes from there. UK people have stopped coming to Goa. People from these other European countries, which are supposed to be good tourists, have stopped coming to Goa because there's a cheaper option available. Indonesia is there. You have Vietnam. It's value for money for a middle class person who takes family of a four or five to that country. You can have the best of the facilities and nicer people who will be there with the best of service to you. Goa, what has happened? Tourists gets beaten up day and night on streets because somebody has tried to overtake or something. Very trivial reasons this type of things happen. Why should somebody come to Goa? Something has to be thought about. Every one of us needs to think about it, that various industries in Goa have died. Tourism is next, and if we are not going to take corrective measures right now in terms of giving uh, good facilities, ease of doing business to this, for a normal restaurant to get a permission in Goa, you have to go through various departments. I know, I have restaurants. I know how difficult it is for the license pollution control board for consent to operate. Come in time. The bribes have gone 10 times. You require permissions from CRZ, that does not come on time. You require from, and the last is the panchayat. The panchayats have become more corrupt than anywhere in the world. From the belt, and who are fostering all these things? Industry can survive. Elected representatives of a people, any business in lives, and nobody can deny this. And if somebody says no, I am wrong, structure comes up, what is the amount that is being spent? I'm in a new place and I know what I have been spending for the amount also from people who are locals, and who need to understand, and everybody, including the bodies to the government, means